roommates. We got to talk about it. It's not cool. I remember, and this is the experience of many African Americans. There's always the proverbial roommate couple, female. We call them ain't so-and-so and ain't so-and-so. Ain't Cheryl and ain't Genevieve or something. They were roommates for 45 years. And never was questioned. A friend of mine, Bishop Yvette Plunder, was pastor in this city. Some of you may know her, or at least know her name. She says, in our society, it would be fairly obvious if we got rid of all the same gender-loving people. We'd have a lot of blues and grays and browns and beiges. It'd be pretty plain, because the color and the flair come from same gender-loving people. I submit I'll go a little bit further. Sure would be a real boring church service if all the gay people got up out of churches, black churches in particular. And let me just say this while I'm saying it. And I'm also tired of the lies that are purported in that discourse. I want to deal with the DL, the down low. Some of y'all may know that. I want to deal with that a little bit. But before we get to the DL, we got to do some coming out of some other people too. I know far too many clergy, black clergy in particular, who have, mother at home with the children. Excuse me, I forgot I'm in an academic setting. Speaking phonics. The children. Who have double and triple lives. Who have Pookie on the side, along with Shaquita, who lives in another city. And I'm saying this a little tongue-in-cheek, but I really, really am clear. And I'm not really playing. This literally happens. And I'm in the flow of the discourse so that people come out to me. Colleagues across the country call me and say, man, I need to talk. This is the real deal. And it's interesting because in many, many cases, my eyes roll in the back of my head. They can't see me on the phone. But who didn't know? Right? Right? There's that preacher that just uses their hand just a little. And you go like, ooh. Did you feel that? I felt that too. But nobody says anything, right? Nobody. There's that one deacon that carries that man purse just a little too. Some people have had these experiences, and what I say is let's name them. If there is a place to name and to begin to be for real, should it not be the communities of faith we have cultivated? Struggle has had us to gather in spaces and places for safety, for safe harbor, for loving and cajoling. Could we not do that in an interesting in a new kind of way and really begin to tell the truth? However, I know why we really can't, or at least in my opinion, I think we cannot. Because if we really begin to tell the truth, you then won't come to my church. There is reciprocity. If I really tell you my business, then you're gonna punish me. Retribution is in order. So can we have a conversation? Here are my challenges, and here are my questions, and then let's talk. All right? Can we have a conversation in the black church that embraces what I would call a new sexual ethic? Conversation that opens sex up. If we can open up sex, we're having it. Why don't we talk about it? In my congregation, it's known amongst my young people that there's a drawer in a particular place in my office. And guess what it's filled up with? Condoms. And I got outed. So they had a board meeting on me. That this got slipped in on the agenda. Reverend's condom distribution. So I said, you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. I heard a little mumbling, you know, in a minute. Well, one brave soul said, well, Reverend, I just don't think it's appropriate. I said, well, what? Okay, I listened to her. And then I said, would you rather me preside over the funeral? Because that's what I have to do. It's either this or that. You know, abstinence, that's cute. But sister, oh, I almost called her name too. Sister so-and-so, if you can step back 70 years ago, when you was some fine thing, were you having it? Yeah. I think, you know, I'm in that age now. I got a grandbaby now, so I got kids and grandkids. I'm in that age now. Well, back in the old days, you know. And my daughter and I, we have a really good relationship at times. I still have to be a daddy, and then we talk about it, and she says, you know, my friends think you're really cool because you kind of are down to earth. You know, their parents don't talk about sex. The biggest fight, the first fight my wife and I had, the first knockout, drag out, slamming doors, didn't speak to each other for, you know, you all don't know me, but the older people in the room, these relationship people, you all know what that is. The frigid few days, because you know, you done had it. Well, Pamela had had enough with me. And the issue was our daughter started school, 5 years old. And I had been doing HIV AIDS education in schools. So I said, okay, we need to talk about sex. Right? And we need to name it. We need to use the language that she will hear on the street. So if you're the prudes, I'm sorry, but we need to talk about dick and pussy. Not vagina and penis. They don't say that on the street. And my wife said, oh! You have to know her, and if she sees this tape up here, she will be mad. And we really had it. We had it out 2.5 weeks. I didn't get no dinner. The car rides were very quiet. The late nights were even more quiet. It was chilly. And then one afternoon I came home from the office and she said, we need to talk. Well, yeah, we've been needing to talk. It's been kind of chilly. And I started getting my righteous indignation because I could feel where this was going, right? She said, I'm sorry. She said, I did have a conversation with our daughter, Alicia. And what she began to tell me that she has already heard her first 2.5 weeks at school, said to me, you were right and I was wrong. I'm a firm believer that our conversation today needs to start as early as school age around HIV, and sex and stuff, because they hear it. And I said my position was that you need to hear, she needs to hear from us what our values are. I want the first time she hears those words to hear it from me and you, not to hear it from the street. And then let's put our spin on it. Let's do what we need to do so that we ingrain in her the values we want her to have. And I know that's a little bit radical for some folk, and I can appreciate you, but it worked in my house. And it worked coming from me. I mean, you know, you got to go with how you roll, right? I can roll like this. I can say, you know, use the D word and the P word, and it just kind of rolls off, you know. Because I'm with Pookie and Ray Ray, and that's how they talk.